All right, guys, we are back with another project. I don't even want to give back history because I want to get working, but long story short, we sold the LS Swap Dakota. It was a fun truck. I know I talked about turboing it and doing a few things like that, and I decided not to, and I'm going to do better in the future on this channel to not make promises I don't end up keeping. But long story short, I decided that I wanted to get into a different project, and I don't have a ton of money, so in order to do that, typically got to sell a project. So we still got the white Tahoe. That's just the daily driver. But what I'm going to show you all here is going to be an interesting project, but I will show you first is what's in the shop here. All right, so we're in the shop now. This is a project idea that kind of just spawned out of nowhere. I don't know if I saw a video or what, and it kind of caught fire in my brain. And this was after I sold the LS truck. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm happy with it. I don't want to put more money into it. We'll see what the future holds for projects. Wanted to do like a Cummins, but they're just so expensive to do those swaps. I was just like, But I was like, I want a diesel. So this is what we got for a diesel, guys. And excuse the mess in here. I have been going crazy in here just trying to get stuff done. But what we're looking at right here, pardon the dog howling in the background, is a 1.9 liter TDI engine and a second 1.9 liter TDI engine and TDI parts all over the table. So I'm going to make this short. I'll give more history throughout the videos, but I want to keep rolling on this project. So what we've got here is a 1.9 liter TDI that came out of a wrecked car. It was running. I did not see it run, but the car definitely had front end damage and it was wrecked, and there was a couple parts like this bracket that was broken. So long story short, found two engines for dirt cheap. One of them needed rebuilt, the other one, but that one had parts on it that I needed. This one was still in good shape, had like 220,000 miles, which isn't anything crazy for a TDI, or so I've been told. But long story short, it's got a mechanical injection pump, which will go more into detail on all of this, I promise. But it is almost ready to be put into the vehicle that it is going into. The last things I need to do are like this timing belt kit and timing belt stuff on that. But everything is bolted up. I got to tighten up a few bolts. It's got head studs. It's getting a bigger turbo. It's got a 12 millimeter built mechanical injection pump from a guy in Morocco. We'll cover that another time. And I'll also put his info in one of these videos because he's been awesome to work with and super helpful. So this is going in the vehicle that I'm about to show you outside. And this is what we're putting it into. So it's a 1987 Jeep Cherokee. It is bone stock. It has the inline 6 4.0 liter, I believe. It does not run at this moment. It supposedly ran. The guy did a clutch job. It didn't run. No idea. Not worried about it. This hunk of junk is coming out. No, in all seriousness, these are supposedly rock solid engines, but I want a diesel. So that's coming out. We're going to work on that today. And then it is not in bad shape overall. I have not washed it, haven't touched it. The interior is a mess right now. Got to do some mega cleaning, but all the front end parts are back there. As you saw, I was missing the grill and stuff. The old clutch is in there on the floor, so I know that's been somewhat worked on anyways. It's got some rust. We'll go over all that more in detail on a later date. Tires are pretty much flat, but this is just a quick little walk around of it so you can just kind of see what we're working with. A relatively clean shell all in all, and the unibody is in great shape. I'm super excited for this. I've always had a weird soft spot for the old square body TDIs, and my cousin Tanner, who has the YouTube channel T-Dog Customs, he's got his Cummins Jeep YJ, I think. Anyways, he's like, dude, you got to get something to go off-roading with me. So this will be an off-road toy slash also a usable daily driver that I am going to actually try to put a CN down the road. If you look down in there, you can kind of see it has a manual transmission. And that's what made me want to buy this Jeep. Now, we're going to be upfront and transparent about what everything has cost me. And at the end, when I get this thing, like, you know, at least running and driving, we're going to do a breakdown on a whiteboard of exactly how much it costs. So if you want to do this, you'll know what you're getting yourself into. And my favorite part about starting any project like this is just getting rid of the junk we don't need. I'm not worrying about selling the engine harness. I'm going to keep it for wiring and stuff like that, but I'm literally just going to go through with a pair of side cutters and just go nuts on this thing. There's a lot to unhook. Again, I don't know how far we'll get tonight, but like this, We don't need the stock air box, but that looks like it should just pop out. And it broke. Okay, good to know. We don't need that. Vacuum line. A lot of vacuum lines. Something about Chrysler and vacuum lines, they just got a real thrill out of it. All right, guys, so we're working on getting all of the carpet out of here because one, it was super nasty, and there, like, I don't know if I mentioned, but it has rust on the floor pans, which I was aware of. So we're working on tearing it all out to kind of see how bad is it, what needs replaced. We'll get to the engine later. It's all pretty much ready to come out, but like 2 bolts that are right behind the firewall in a really awkward spot to get to, or on this side of the firewall, but hard to get to. So we are working on gutting it now. I'll give you a little shot back here. So these were 2 seats the guy originally had planned on putting in the Jeep, which we're trashing those. They're heavy and hideous. And then this is a pile of stuff. So like that stuff's good. Probably just gonna get rid of the rear seats because they're nasty. Little pile of scrap metal, a couple of front end pieces, bags of just carpet, and then working on getting the rear carpet out now, and then I'm gonna get the front seats out, the center console, and all that is coming out. So I'm excited and scared to see what it looks like under this, but I know the back half is pretty good all in all. There might be a couple spots I need to patch, but the front's gonna be a different story because it definitely looks like water. I mean, the carpet's stained, so I don't know if it was water necessarily or just overall overtime moisture. I know the XJs have a real problem with the floor pans getting rotted, so I don't know why, but they do. So if anyone knows, leave a comment below as to why these things just rot out so bad. And maybe it's just terrible metal quality or something. But so got a couple more screws to take out back here in the rear, and then we can gut this rear carpet. We're not even trying to save it. For now, it's gonna be just a shell. And then we'll continue with the engine swap, and then, you know, do metal patching work in between there as we are getting parts and pieces. So, I mean, I don't know how much of this to video because this is just super boring. It's me ripping out carpet. My wife is helping me right now. So I'm probably going to pause the camera here, and then I will pick back up when we get the rear carpet out, or maybe after I get the front seats out, and we'll kind of do a reveal of what is under the carpet, because carpet hides a lot of sins, or in this case, a lot of rust. So wish me luck. So back carpet is out. And it truly does look a lot worse than it is. We've got a bunch of rotted out drain plugs, I believe is really what these are. But so really this whole piece is completely salvageable, which is awesome, just as it is. This right here, I'm not worried about this stuff. I mean, we'll have to take a wire wheel to it and go nuts on it. If anything ends up burning through, we'll go from there and address it. These, which I believe are like the seat brackets, it's actually just screwed on. So I'm gonna try to just get those screws off and get those out of there, because again, anything that is rusty just continues to spread the rust. I'm gonna have to come back and just cut these little tie down spots off because they're like riveted on. But a couple worse areas are like inside this wheel well right here. You can see it's a little bit tender, not gone, but you can see the seam sealer stuff right here is just, you know, pretty much gone. And that's honestly probably thanks to this bracket getting rusty to start with. Down in here we have, let me fix the camera. Down in here we got a nice hole. So that's awesome, but repairable. This side so far does not have any holes. And another awful seat bracket, but like seat belt mounts, things like that are actually still in okay shape. This side over here is in better shape overall. We got flake rust here, but this is still pretty structural. It's just the wheel well, so I could always patch this from the outside or inside. But again, gonna try to unbolt these guys out of here. So we're gonna leave the dash, we're gonna leave the side trim pieces that you can see behind me here. Front seats are coming out, center console, and then rip that carpet up. So, yeah, I'm scared, but let's get after it. All right, so after a little bit more work, we got it totally gutted. We went ahead and just vacuumed it all out just so at least the loose flaky rust was gone. So I already showed you back here, really not too bad. Maybe a couple spots that need some small patches. Really the biggest one being inside that fender there, which is kind of hard to see. This fender over here was clean from what I could tell on this side. Again, I'll need to look under the Jeep like completely a little bit better, jack it up and see how the bottom side of some of this stuff looks, because it's easier to cut it from up here and replace it. But this looks promising. The back section looks promising. And then when we come around to this section up here, we've got some good news, some bad news. So this side is as bad as I thought it was going to be, which is okay. Basically from a little bit above the pedals, this just really almost this whole piece right here just needs to be taken out, and you know, up to about here on the trans tunnel, and then this guy's solid up to about right here. So be able just to kind of cut a nice flat line there, do a piece of metal that's got like a 1-inch lip that I weld and I'm gonna weld all of this super solid, just so that way it gives it a little more rigidity than just using some kind of silicone. So big chunk that needs replaced, but the unibody, which you can see through my huge hole, the unibody, other than like the top area where the rust has been sitting, is super clean. And that's how it looked from the underside. And that's what really attracted me to this Jeep, other than the manual transmission and the price tag, was that the unibody looked really good. It's rock solid front to back. There's not a pinhole of rust on it anywhere. We'll just jump in here. The other side, not near as bad. We've got a little spot right up there, as you can see. So I'm gonna try to leave as much of this pan as I can, but depending on, may just do the whole thing, because we do have some spots back there and back there. So for whatever reason, these sides didn't do it as much in those corners. So that is what it's looking like so far. So it's repairable. I had a moment of discouragement yesterday because I was like, oh, it's a little bit worse than I thought. And then I was like, it's just welding and metal, two things I love. So why should I dread this? Still dread it a little bit, but yeah. So we're gonna call it a night there, and shout out to the wife for helping. It was nice having a second set of hands to kind of bag trash, because we got a pile of just junk. I mean, aside from maybe putting the front seats back in here to use it, when I get it all swapped and up and running and the floor is fixed, I'm not using the rear seats, the carpet obviously not, and just, it's just a mess. So that's fine. All right, so the third evening of working on this thing, and we are just about ready to pull this thing out. So it was a nightmare getting those two bolts out of the top of the transmission, because they're that far away from the firewall, and I didn't want to drop the transmission because I don't need to at this moment to do the TDI swap. So it's already loose, as you can kind of see. It's kind of just hanging there. So I'm gonna set this down, we're gonna rip this thing out, set it on the ground for now, and take a look at the engine bay. So let's get cooking. Well, here it is. And I'll tell you what, that is one heavy engine. Cast iron block, cast iron head, aluminum manifold for the intake, obviously just regular old mild steel exhaust. But that's a tank. I think I did some math, give or take a little bit, since there's some parts off the TDI that I won't be using, but dressed versus dressed from this engine versus the TDI, we'll be losing about 120 pounds, which is awesome. Because the TDI is a cast iron block and aluminum head. Surprisingly heavy for a 4-cylinder, but way lighter in this thing. So here we have the engine bay. Overall, nothing rust-wise. I've got some parts I need to take off, like this guy, which is a big chunk for the ignition system. I need to probably drag this up into the yard, just because I don't want to do it on my pavement, and just pressure wash, degrease. But I mean, honestly, it's not terrible. These are the original mounts. I'm gonna roll with this for now. They're just bolted in, which is great. That means I can unbolt them and put something else in place of them, and I kind of have a template for the CAD. But they're already here. I mean, the TDI is narrow, so even if I had to cut this one off in half and this one in half, these might be a good base to bring the TDI in and then make some pieces that mount onto these guys. That would save a ton of work if I could do that. So I don't know for a fact, but yeah, here it is. Super awesome. That went pretty well. These were the 2 bolts right here that I was having a hard time getting at. Now the trans in here is the 5-speed, and most people would probably think it would be the AX15, which is what's in all the Jeeps and all the Cherokees after, I believe, 88 or 87 was the transition year. This is an 87. This has, I can't even pronounce what kind of transmission this one is. It's this big old kind of like, I don't know, it sounds French to me. I'm sure it's not, but it's this funky like Pugnot transmission or something. Definitely not as reliable or not as loved as the AX15, but it's in here. The bell housing, I mean, should be identical because this can bolt to any Jeep. It's not a special bolt setup on the back of the engine. All the 4.0 liter inline 6 Jeep engines are all the same. So my adapter plate should bolt right to that, even though it's not technically made for that. It's technically made for the AX15. So the only difference would maybe be the input shaft bearing there. Like I may have to kind of figure that out. But either way, if this for some reason wouldn't work, I'd have to go with an AX15 and it would be a bolt-in swap. That's gonna do it for now. Peace, be good guys.